Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Baba Buddha, and just wanted to let you know, just coming back from the pool. My girlfriend and I had a nice day at the pool. Sitting here at my sanctuary, just wanted to let you know that this next video that you're going to be watching is a special one, because it's where my girlfriend and we launched our combined efforts to create a show called The Wholeness of Being with Baba and Beebe. So please enjoy it. You know, hit subscribe down below, hit like, hit those bell notifications, share this out, and please leave us your comments. We'd love to hear what you think, and any questions you may have. We'll always respond. And so please enjoy the video.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Happy Sunday.
Yeah, what's going on?
We've got, just to give you a little idea of our setup here, we're both streaming onto our individual pages, okay? So this is no small feat. I'm here on my screen, on my computer. We're right next to each other, obviously.
Hey guys, and I'm right here on mine.
And then he's streaming on his page from his computer, and I wish that I could get a shot of all of this.
Yeah.
To show you.
We'll do some
Actually, I'll have to take a picture and then post it later. Anyways, and then he's got his phone going here too.
Yeah, we're about ready to go live on Instagram.
Woohoo. Okay. So we have a very unique little home studio, I guess you could say, going on here. So I'm going to, this is our first time, coming together and kind of joining forces, if you will. My people here on Rebelistic know who I am, but I'm going to introduce myself for everyone in Bruce's world.
And also my people here know that this is another installment of Conversations with Baba Buddha. And then I'm very honored and excited to be sharing this with my new co-host and of my life, Heather Beebe.
Yes. So I am Heather Beebe, hence the name. Did we already say the name?
Not yet.
Okay, never mind. We'll get to that. I'm Heather Beebe, and I am here with my fabulous co-host, Baba Bruce, Baba Buddha.
Baba Buddha.
And like I touched on, we are coming to you live today to share our combined focus of bringing my holistic wellness approach and Baba's mental mastery transformation practice together into one message.
And so we are now going to be the wholeness of being with Baba and Beebe.
Yes. So this is going to become a regular Sunday morning routine for us. So every Sunday morning at 10, we are going to come live on here to all of you and have a new topic. We'll share ahead of time each week what that topic's going to be. But we're really excited for this new kind of venture that we are stepping into.
Yep, we're going to be sharing with you our morning routine every Sunday.
Yeah. And we're excited we hope that you'll choose to be a part of that and join us every Sunday, because it's going to kind of kick off our week.
Sorry, I can't wait. Kiwi's so good.
Kiwi is the best. That actually looks like really good fruit. Today, we are going to introduce you to the states of being. But before we do that, I would like to tell you a little bit about this man right here, this fabulous, wonderful person who I am blessed to call my Baba. So a little bit about him. A lot of you in my world probably don't know, and you guys might know, but you'll get to hear it again. So Bruce is originally a country boy from Montana. Yeah. He spent 5 years of his early adulthood in the Navy as a rescue swimmer. And then he was stationed in California, at which time that kind of led him to pursue his love of acting and that passion. And he studied theater, film, and television at UCLA. And So then with his love for acting having been fostered, that led him to teach acting for the past 15 years, actually. And then he kind of pursued other passions in his life, and he became an Eastern Bodyworks massage therapist, a Qigong instructor. It's okay if you don't know what Qigong is. That is he'll get into that.
Do Qigong.
Yes, it's a style of breath work.
It's like Tai Chi,
yeah.
an energy practice.
So he'll get into that in future weeks. But so he became a Qigong instructor, a Reiki energy healer, as a Reiki master. And he is now living his true purpose, which kind of combines all of those things that he's kind of acquired over the years and mastered over the years. He's now a mindset transformation coach and author and speaker. And in that world, he's known as Baba Buddha. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce him today as Baba Buddha, or as his friends call him, Baba Bruce.
Thank you, baby. Wow. It's so wonderful to hear you say all those wonderful things about me. And you know what? I'm completely open and allowing and let it be accepted as my truth. That yes, I am all of that and more, right? That's part of, being wholeness of being, is being able to accept compliments in that way and let it in and be gracious and grateful and also own it, right? So yeah, I am a country boy from Montana. I grew up in the wilderness. I love the mountains. I love the outdoors. I think that's why Heather and I get along so great together. We love to go camping and stuff. But I knew that there was something more for my life than just being from a small town in Montana. So I, joined the Navy. It's not just a job, it's an adventure. By the way, do you know what Navy stands for? Never again volunteer yourself. But the reason I became a rescue swimmer is because I already had something inside of me that I made a decision early on. I said, you know what? I want to save lives and not take them. So I made a very serious commitment early on in my life that was a path I was going to take. I wasn't going to be the person who went over and fought to kill, to save lives or whatever. But I was going to be the one that would actually go and save lives. And I actually would learn how to save the enemy as well, because it's a human life, right? Fast forward to, where I'm at now in my life, where, well, not fast forward that far, but fast forward to, being in California, San Diego, where I got out of the Navy, went into a theater conservatory program where I learned all about theater. I felt completely in love. I felt at home amongst the misfits, right? Who like, I'm like crazy right now, right? So it was a place where I really got to become more of who I've always been inside, right? And so then I was blessed and fortunate enough to have been accepted into the wonderful school of theater, film, and television at UCLA. I absolutely fell in love with directing and writing. And that's where I really developed my love for teaching other actors. And the thing that was so powerful about that for me is being able to watch people in their struggle, their emotional vulnerabilities. And I was just able to draw out from within them their most authentic truth. And I would help them uncover, limiting beliefs that they had in themselves and where those came from. And I was doing it to help them be able to create more full, well-rounded characters. But, that didn't even know that later on in my life, how well that would serve me. So then fast forward to where, life happened, it happens to all of us. I was in some, toxic relationships, toxic situations. I allowed myself to become distracted and completely pulled away from my path. And so luckily I did have a moment where I said, hey, time to get back on path. So I did. I became an Eastern Bodyworks massage therapist because I knew I wanted to learn more about energy. And so as an Eastern Bodyworks massage therapist, I learned all about meridians and about energy in the body. And that's what led me to studying Qigong. And then I became a Qigong instructor because that's all about energy. Qi, the Qi of the Qigong is energy, right? And so learning how to harness that energy for healing purposes. And it was there that I was introduced to breath work. Let me tell you, that was the transformation that my life completely zeroed in, and I became an intentional living being and started to feel more of a calling and knew that I was destined for more than just, the things that I was doing in my life. So then I became a Reiki energy healer, and started using that ability to help heal other people and bring the healing energy through me. The thing about being a Reiki energy healer is we are not a healer ourselves. All we are is a conduit. We are a straw, and we channel the energy. And to feel the energy channeling through you is one of the most beautiful experiences I can imagine. And experience. And so I've recently became a Reiki master. So now I'm very excited about how that path has led me to, like she said, really deciding to go in and say, okay, I want to help people understand how is energetic healing able to really help you heal, right? And when I'm talking about healing, I'm talking about healing from the whole being of yourself, and it starts with the mind. It starts with your thoughts, and it starts with thinking and programs and things like that. But I'm not going to get into all that detail. That's going to come in the weeks ahead as we continue to share stuff with you. So that's just a little bit about me. I wanted to share with you guys. We'll be sharing more about ourselves as we continue along this journey. But I don't want to let my beautiful co-host sit here and not be able to tell you about her amazing story. This wonderful woman, pardon me as I put on some glasses because I'm almost 50 years old. Can you believe it? She's also from a small town in Ontario, Canada, from the wilderness. So again, hey, we both come from very similar backgrounds, right? But you know what? Those cold, harsh winters of Canada, which I don't blame her, those cold, harsh winters of Montana, she's just kind of like over that, and the beautiful sunshine of Florida and the beaches of Florida and the sun and everything was calling to her. So in 2006, this amazing young woman with a beautiful young baby daughter, I'm gonna get emotional. It's a beautiful story. She left on her own and came all the way down here to Florida to start a life. And that took so much courage. And I honor you for the courage that took to do that. So then she spent the next 15 years in the preschool industry, bringing this beautiful heart that she has to taking care of the most precious, precious gifts, that each family has in their lives. And, she was in various roles throughout that time, being able to bring just amazing service to these families and these children. Where she ultimately, became a director of her own school, where she was the one that was responsible for all of these beautiful children, and the families just love her. And when she knew that it was time for her to move on to her bigger purpose, these families were so sad to see her go. Some of them even gave her wonderful gifts. She's not wearing her rebel gift right now. No. But it just lets you know how much she really touched those lives. But she has a bigger purpose and a bigger calling. So that's led her to where she is today, where she has become a certified health coach. And I'm going to let her tell, her story about that and really explain more about that herself. But, she's become a holistic wellness coach. And this is where she gets to empower women to step into their balanced whole being. And I can't think of a more wonderful calling and purpose to have than something like that. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to my people, my wonderful and beautiful girlfriend, the fabulous and loving Heather Beebe. Please tell us about yourself, baby.
Thank you. So my journey to being a health coach actually started without me even realizing it. It started a few years ago when my life kind of took what could be perceived as a rocky turn, so to speak. But I made the decision to leave my marriage. It had sometimes, everything is a chapter in our lives, right? And that chapter was coming to an end. And so I was going through a divorce. anyone who's been through that knows it doesn't matter what side you're on of that. It doesn't matter if you're the one choosing to end it or if you're the one, if you don't want it to end and it's ending anyways. Regardless of the situation, it's painful and it's difficult. And for me, it put me in a place where my health was suffering. And by my health, I mean every aspect of my health, my emotional health, my mental health, my spiritual health, my physical health. And actually, I'll backtrack a little bit. All of those areas of my health were already suffering. But the divorce, the end of that almost 10-year relationship, is what kind of brought all of that to a head, and made me start to realize how out of balance my life actually was. So I was in this place of really a lot of inner turmoil, and facing things that I had buried for a long time, wounds from the past, inner struggles, just a lot of pain, a lot of, because it's sometimes we think that it's easier to push that stuff down. We think it's easier to, we don't want to face the ugly. We don't, it's not fun. It's not the pretty parts of our life. And we don't want to feel it a lot of times. Feeling it is, it's painful. And so when we start to look at those wounds and we start to allow them to come to the surface, it requires feeling them. And so that's what started to happen for me at this time in my life. And I had always had a focus on, for several years, I had focused a lot on physical fitness and physical, working out and all of that. And I didn't realize that I was actually using that as an escape. I wasn't happy in a lot of other areas in my life. And so my escape was going to the gym and thinking that I was being really healthy, right? Come this divorce and this emotional like turmoil, and I no longer had the physical strength or the emotional strength to do that. So what had been my crutch, so to speak, for all of those years, was no longer able to be my crutch. I was finally having to look at the deeper parts of me and the bigger, the wounds, the things that were not healed, and were kind of running my life, so to speak. And I was running from them. And so I started doing the deep, painful work of on the emotional part of my health and the spiritual part of my health. And that's a story in itself. I won't go into the details of that, but ultimately that deeper, what I like to call soul work. I actually have a program that I refer to as whole food and soul food. And it's that soul food portion that got me to a level of strength, and brought back the ability to focus then on my physical health again, because I was actually in such a low place that my closest friends know this because they were there for me through this. I was struggling to even go to the grocery store. I used to, meal prep every Sunday for the week. And suddenly like the thought of even preparing one meal was super overwhelming. And so I felt like I had gone like a full circle. Like I used to be so focused on my physical health, and then I couldn't even muster the energy to take a walk. So I had to kind of let that go in a way and focus more on the inner stuff, what was going on inside. And then as I healed and things, I began to take charge of my inner health, then I was able to, it brought me to a place where I was able to focus on the physical health again, because it's all connected. Everything, if one part is out of balance, then every area suffers. So that actually got me to a place where once I got through that and started focusing on my physical health again, then it was like I knew that I had a bigger calling than what I was doing in my career at the time. I knew that a life in the preschool industry was not going to be forever. That was not my end all goal, right? And I wasn't sure what that was. I wasn't sure what that was. But as I continued to do the work and ask myself, what are my passions? Like, I had never taken the time to do that. It's so easy to just do what we're good at, right? And I had been in the preschool industry for so long. I knew it. I was familiar with it. I was comfortable with it. It felt safe. And it's very easy to stay in our safe place, whatever that's been for us for all these years. And it takes a lot of courage to let yourself even start to think beyond that comfort zone. And I did start to think outside of that box. Okay, what outside of this? So I know I'm good at this. I know I can do this, but where is my passion? What do I want to bring to the world? And I started thinking about my story and my journey. And I knew that that was going to play a part in it, but I wasn't sure how. And then ultimately, as I started to focus on my passions and all of this, I started exploring the idea of health coaching. And once I started to explore that, it's like synchronicities started popping up. I randomly listened to a podcast by someone I had never listened to before. And it was very oddly on health coaching and her journey as a health coach. And I was like, oh, interesting. And on that podcast, they were talking about this certain school. And so I started to research that school, and I felt really aligned with everything that school taught. And then just things started popping up on Facebook. Like, I just started getting all of these synchronicities, signs, yes, popping up. And I knew that I was being called to step into that role of health coaching. And so I also knew that I wanted my health coaching to, I'm sorry, I'm taking a lot of time. I also knew that I wanted my health coaching journey I wanted to reach women who were on or had been on a similar journey as I had been on. I knew that the toll, I guess, that my divorce had taken on my health. I knew everything that it had brought to light, and I knew what I had struggled with, and I knew what I had faced and what I had worked through. And if I was facing that and working through that, I knew other women were too. And so I wanted to be a resource. I wanted to be just provide guidance and support based on my own journey. And that's what brought me to what I do today. All right.
So that's Heather, guys.
So that's me in a nutshell. And there will be more. I mean, gosh, well, there'll be more coming out about both of our stories and our journeys, eventually how we came together. And that's a whole other episode. But you see us here today with fruit. In these mugs is warm lemon water. And so the point of coming on here today,
I like to put sea salt and agave honey in mine.
Yes.
Get it better for you.
We want to share a little bit about our daily routine, our morning routine that we practice literally every morning.
We like to call it a healthy start.
Yeah. And how this routine came to be was just as a couple, as we started reading together and exploring things together, and each of us were on our own individual journeys, but then kind of taking our individual interests and combining them, and they became shared interests. Yeah, I've got my coffee too, so
Oh, yeah. Actually, I didn't drink coffee.
We're double fisting.
Oh, okay.
But with my kind of my physical health journey, I developed an interest in Ayurveda.
I'd been interested in Ayurveda and the sutras. I had actually been reading a book on the sutras. So the fact that she was now talking about Ayurveda, I was like, well, this is perfect. This is why you're in my life.
Yeah, part of the reason.
Just more evidence.
Yeah. But we started to learn some of the daily routine habits, I guess, that Ayurveda kind of teaches and believes in. And we started incorporating them. And one of the main, Ayurveda has a very large focus on your morning start. Like how you start your morning plays such a big part in the rest of your day. And we've adopted this Ayurveda routine of the first thing we put in our bodies in the morning, every morning, is warm lemon water, and as well as fresh fruit.
Gets the enzymes going in your stomach, right? So that you're able to digest things easier, right? Because fruit is already a very, kind of easily digestible substance, right? So you chew it up and swallow it. You've just woken up, so your stomach isn't ready for a big meal yet. Even though we love those pancakes and French toast, I know, hash browns and all that, right? But if you make sure the first 45 minutes is nothing but fruit, you get the enzymes going inside the stomach so that you're able to digest things more easily, and your stomach's already going. And not to mention organic fruit in the morning. I can't tell you how good I feel after having my fruit in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to share with you. We've got some organic blueberries, organic raspberries, strawberries, kiwi, blackberry. Sometimes we have mango. That's tasty stuff.
So fruit is the first thing you should put in your body in the morning, at least 45 minutes before you put anything else in your body. And that is because the fruit gets your digestive juices going, and it kind of wakes up your body, so to speak. And 45 minutes before you eat anything else, the reason for that is your body has the time to process the fruit and absorb all the nutrients from it before you're adding anything else to your body. And then the lemon water, so it should be warm lemon water. If you want, you can add some salt to it. He likes to add agave nectar to his, but yeah, just a sprinkle, not a lot. He's got it. It's really to your taste. I sometimes add salt. Most of the time I don't, but it is good for you if you do. But the point of the warm lemon water is in the night, we dry out, our tissues dry out. And the warm lemon water hydrates our tissues more effectively than cold water does. And the lemon actually acts as a pH balancer. So our pH levels tend to be higher in the mornings. And so by taking in that lemon in the water, it brings that down and balances our pH levels out. While the warm water is hydrating our tissues, and essentially what it's doing is waking our body up. It's telling our body it's time to go. It's time to get started. Also, not to mention the vitamins that we get from the lemon. And lemon is a liver cleanser. So it's just a great way to start the day, like cleansing your system. It also, if you have issues with bowel movements, it gets that going as well. It can stimulate those digestive fires. And it wakes up your system, especially along with the fruit that is doing that as well. And it's getting you ready for a good meal, and just getting you ready for the day. And so physically, that's how we start our day on a physical level, like nourishing our bodies on a physical level.
But on the mental level, right? This actually goes into the the aspects of her program, right? The whole food we're just talking about right now, everything that's good for your body, good for, the whole body, right? That's the whole food. And the soul food, right? That goes into more of the etheric, into the more, your mind and your mental and how you show up for yourself in your day. And so one of the best things you can do, I'm sure you've heard of many times, is journaling, right? But let's talk a little bit about journaling, right? Because there's many different ideas of what journaling can be, right? That journaling can be this thing where you're writing your deepest, darkest secrets, and it's my diary, right? Remember a diary when you were a kid? That's what we always called it when we were kids. It's like, I remember having a diary. I would just write things that were so secret. If anyone like even knew I have, like, that's mine. Those are my secrets. Stay away, right? And so it is. It's a very kind of sacred place that you communicate to yourself. And when I talk about communicating to yourself, I'm going to go into a little bit of like that Ayurveda and into the sutras, right? So we are not our thoughts. If this is the first time you've ever kind of really heard this idea, then let this kind of open up a new world for you. We are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions. Now, what we are, we are the observer of those thoughts. We are the observer of those emotions. In other words, we experience these things, but we are not those things, right? And so if you understand that, then when you're journaling, you're talking to who you really are, okay? And what starts to happen is who you really are talks back to you. It's kind of cool, right? So in other words, you can think of it like it's a place for you to talk to your soul and for your soul and your spirit to have a conversation, right? And the beautiful thing about a journal is it's an accountability place. It's about self accountability, right? We've all heard about having an accountability partner, like maybe for the gym, or if you are, doing some sort of program, especially nowadays. Self development is really becoming a very culturally popular thing. But guess what? It's actually good for you, right? And so we have accountability partners, but the thing about an accountability partner is you can fall off from that, or you can feel guilty that you haven't done something, so you kind of like avoided it, or you fall off altogether, right? Self accountability is different because you don't have to beat up on yourself because you didn't get something done, but you can just let yourself know, right, that I didn't quite get accomplished today what I wanted to get to accomplished, but you can also say, but I did get this accomplished. And so it's a way of celebrating the little victories along the way, right? And continuing to keep yourself on track. I can't tell you how much this journaling has transformed our lives just this year alone, because it's given us a place to put down ideas and thoughts. When you have those brilliant ideas and thoughts and you don't write them down, and then you're like, oh, what was that? What was that brilliant idea that I had, right? What was that? What was the thought that I was thinking about, right? But when you have it in a journal, not only is it there, right, but then you can actually track your progress, right? Because so many times we'll start to work on something, and if we don't have a way to track our progress, we kind of forget that, oh yeah, I was working on that, or we kind of forget where we're at with it, And if you're not really aware of where you're at with something, you tend to just kind of forget it, and other things come in and they become more of a priority, and then you start working on that, and then, hey, guess what? You might forget about that as well. So the other part about this is when you do start to have all these different ideas, right? You can't do them all at once, right? So we, you ever heard that feeling of being overwhelmed and feeling overwhelmed? People talk about it all the time. I'm so stressed at work. I'm so overwhelmed, right? Another beautiful thing about the journal is that gives you a place to say, okay, you know what? Today I didn't get anything done with, project A, but I started project B, and I'm so excited about where this journey's going. And then the next day you're like, I worked more on project A. Project A is going great. I didn't get to project B today, but I'm excited to get back to that, tomorrow. And so it's a place for you to be able to keep track of what's going on in your life, right? And like I said, when you write things down, it actually has a direct connection to your subconscious mind. So you can also write things in here that you are going to affirm for your life, like positive affirmations, like positive intentions for your life. Abundance flows to me and abundance flows from me. I lead with intention from my heart, the energy of my heart in all things that I do. So this is one of the key things that we do religiously, and it's now become such a habit, I get up a little bit early. I fix our lemon water. I fix our fruit. And then I always have about 15 minutes to sit down, journal, and then I read. I read for about 5, 10, 15 minutes before I head off for my day. And I tell you what, I head off on my day so positive, so full, so like ready to face the day. Now, is the day challenging? Yes, it's very challenging. And do I struggle? Yes, I struggle. But my positive attitude doesn't go away. Do I have moments where I might, curse out an inanimate object? Yeah. But if I get upset with someone else, like for cutting me off, it's instantaneous. It's like, hey, you jerk off. Have a nice day. Right? It doesn't last. And I can tell you that before the transformation of myself, which is why I'm a mindset transformational coach myself, just like her journey, to empower women because she's empowered herself. Before all this, I would get upset about something and that would linger with me. And as I'm upset about something and I would have it lingering with me, something else would happen to get me upset. And I'd be like, oh, of course, on a day like today, that's going to happen too. And now I got two things lingering on me and I'm starting to weigh down. And, I come to the end of my day and I'm just like, oh, so glad the day's over. And all I want to do is watch TV and escape. And I eat some food and I watch TV and I escape and I go to bed and I try to sleep as long as I can. And that was my life, but not anymore. Mm-hmm. Now I'm excited when I wake up. I have a positive morning routine that I'll share with you at another time that really gets me going. It has to do with breath work. It has to do with connecting to the source of energy that you are connected to, that we are all connected to at all times, right? And now I go through the day, I get challenges, I take them on, I struggle. As soon as the struggle's done, I'm still upbeat and positive. I come home, I'm so excited to see the love of my life when I come home, but that's something that I've created by, filling myself full of that love and knowing that I am worthy of love and that I am a lovable being and loved and loving and all the lovable things you can be, right? And so that's brought us together now because her whole food and soul food is vital for you to have your wellness of being. And in order to maintain that, your mental state of being is what is important. So that kind of brings us into talking about the actual states of being today. Your daughter going to work. Have a good day. So that brings us to what we're going to talk about today, which is states of being. Okay, there's multiple states of being. And so I'm going to let Heather kind of take the ball with this and talk about the states of being that she would like to talk about. And I'll chime in, here and there. This is conversations with Baba Buddha and Beebe. So, we're gonna have a conversation now about the states of being.
And this is something that we're going to go more in depth on in incoming weeks, because you can absolutely spend a fair amount of time on each one. But for an overview, and this is something that this is why we're here together, because this is my program focuses on all of these states of being, and then his does as well in a way. So it ends up, they really go hand in hand. And we'll have in coming weeks, we'll have like some screen shares to share with you and things like that. But a general overview of the states of being are emotional wellness, mental wellness, physical wellness, spiritual wellness. And then within each of those, we break it down even further. Within those areas, then we also address things like financial wellness, social wellness, exercise. Sorry.
Trying to give you guys a good view of it.
I was very comfortable, leaned back against the couch. So each of those broader categories, we break it down into even more detailed categories. And because everyone, and we've learned this, and we work on this to this day, like we are not experts. We just know this has been our journey.
We are practitioners.
Yeah, that's a good word. We have discovered as we've discovered that as we work on one area, it brings to light another area that we need to then work on. And it's all connected. And so we're going to go into in coming weeks, more detail on each of those. But what do you want to add?
Well, yeah, just like she said, that a state of being is who you are in the present moment, right? So who I am mentally when I prepare myself for my day with the way that I use my morning routine, that is my mental state of being. So I can go out into the day and I don't let thoughts go across my mind that are not in alignment with who I want to be. Now, in the past, those thoughts would go into my mind and I wouldn't even be fully conscious of them. And I'd sit there and ruminate on them and I'd think about them and I'd get all frustrated and upset. And I'd be like, why am I upset about this? Why are things upsetting me? Well, it's because I was letting these thoughts ruminate inside my head without being aware of them, right? So a mental state of being is being aware of your mental state in that particular moment, in every moment. So it doesn't mean the thoughts aren't going to come, because here's the thing, thoughts are random. Guess what? Thoughts aren't your own. Thoughts are these things that just come because they're programmed, because they're conditioned, and they're just all these things, all these beliefs that are not your own. There's something that you've been conditioned to believe. There's all these programs that are conditioned into there. So these thoughts that are coming all the time, you can just be aware of them and have no, emotional connection to them. Just be like, okay, I see you, but you know what? You're not in alignment with what I choose to be. So here's my deliberate thinking that I'm going to place in your position instead. And so thinking comes from you, right? That inner awareness, right? So when you switch that and say, no, I'm going to think about this instead. Like, let's say something we all can probably relate to. I'm so stressed about bills. That's a thought that comes through your head, right? Oh, I'm so stressed about bills. I don't know how I'm going to pay this. And then I stop that and say, yes, but that's not in alignment with who I am. I'm going to say, I'm so grateful that I have all the money to pay all my bills. I'm so grateful that I'm able to, use the abundance of money flowing into my life to flow out to all these people who are offering me this wonderful service that makes my life better. Do you see the switch there? That's a mental state of being that is in balance and empowered, right? And then same thing, emotional state of being. Right? If you wake up in the morning and you're already like, oh God, another day and Monday, I can't, how am I going to, you look at your Facebook and, oh, look, so-and-so's on vacation in Bali and I'm having to go to work and deal with blah, 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 right? Your emotional state of being starts to take over. And guess what? Our emotions actually resonate. They actually send out an electromagnetic signature from our bodies. We are an electromagnetic machine. Whether you're not, we'll get into a lot of detail about this later on in terms of energy, right? Energy centers, chakras, if you've ever heard of that kind of stuff. But when you start like that, your emotions are sending out a signal. And guess what? Just like she said, things started to come to her, like started to synchronize, right? Same thing. If your emotions are starting out that way, guess what? Have you ever noticed how if you start that way throughout your day, little things happen? They're just like, oh gosh, like someone's coming in late, or now I have to stay late, or things like that. Because you're sending out a signal. And guess what happens? We are a magnet. We magnetically attract to us those things that are in alignment with the frequency of the energy that we're sending out. Okay, so that's an emotional state of being. And then, hey, guess what? There's such a thing as a financial state of being, right? Because don't think of finances as cash. Don't think of finances as, wealth or whatever. Think of it as an exchange of goods. It's an energy exchange, just like the ocean flows in, right? And then the ocean flows out. So finances and abundance, so the finances flows in, you use that money and it flows right back out. Don't be a hoarder. Don't be in the scarcity mindset where, oh, I need all this money. I need to hold on to it. Well, guess what? You fill a cup full, all it's doing is going to overflow and you're not going to have any extra, right? That mentality, right? But if you're letting it just come in and then you're pouring it out and, giving it to whoever is in need or using it for whatever it is that you need and want in your life, then you're in the flow of that, and you're in that financial state of being that maintains you and keeps you healthy. But like she said, There's many aspects of life that we're going to go into next time because we don't want to take a long time with all these lives. This is our first one, so we went a little long because we wanted to introduce ourselves and tell our story. But, you know, from here on out, we're really going to be jumping into these different ideas and insights to help you start to empower yourself, right, to become your most powerful, you know, self. I'm going to be giving you all the mental aspects of it, the energy aspects of it, you know, and helping you really understand how this all correlates with your present being of your life. And of course, she's going to be bringing you all these beautiful understandings of how you can relate it to your personal life. You know, we're not these like guru coaches. They're like, hey, we got it all figured out and come on, this is how you do it. No, we're going through the struggle ourselves all the time. And from what we've learned, we're sharing with you. So like she said, next time we're going to dive into the circle of life. That's super exciting. And these states of being are going to fit into that circle of life. So we're really going to be excited to share that with you. Is there something else you wanted to share, my love?
Nope. We'll be back next Sunday at 10. And we'll have our fruit. We'll have our lemon water. If you would like to
join us, grab some fruit, grab some lemon water. We'd love to, you know, cheers you to a good, healthy morning start.
Yeah, and feel free to comment. We're not going to pay too much attention to the comments while we're talking because we're not great at multitasking, frankly. But we will get back to them. We'll read them, and we want to have a conversation with you guys. And we don't want it to just be us. We're obviously doing the talking initially, but we want it to be a conversation and answer questions or receive comments. And especially if you start practicing some of this in your life, we would love to talk about that.
Taste the fresh fruit in the morning.
Fresh fruit in the morning is it's thebomb.com. So, but I think on that note,
this has been Conversations with Baba Buddha.
Baba and Beebe.
Baba Beebe, and this is Baba Beebe with your Wholeness of Being.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Happy Sunday.
Namaste. Be masters of your will.